Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another WNBA centered stream. I'm Jordan Robinson, and happy holidays to everybody. Typically, we do these on Thursdays, but we moved it up because it's Christmas. And Merry Christmas to you because we have a bunch of WNBA news to go over because a lot is going on per usual. So I'm just going to get right into it because there's a lot to talk about. All right. So we're just going to go through the latest buzz. The first thing that I want to talk about and that has everyone buzzing these days is, will there be a 2026 WNBA season? That's the first thing on my Christmas list for Santa. Please have there be a 2026 WNBA season. But here's everything that has gone down recently to make us believe or question if there's going to be a season. So recently, the Players Association have announced that they have authorized a strike when necessary. Now, just seeing the word strike, everyone has kind of started to freak out. Are they striking? Is there going to be a season? Blah, 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 blah. Here's what that means. We see this post here from the New York Post. WNBA players approve strike when necessary, an overwhelming vote. So some details. 98% of the players said yes to the option of a strike. That is not mean an immediate call to strike, or should it be viewed as the players intentionally wanting a strike? That's not what that means. What it does mean is that if it were to come to that, if they can't meet an agreement with the league and the Players Association, the players have voted. 93% of the league participated and 98% of the players voted yes. And they voted yes, that they are trusting the 7 players that make up the WNBPA executive committee to make that final decision. So if it does come down to a strike, the players of the league are saying, we trust you, executive committee, to make that decision. The 7 players, just for review, Nneka Ogwumike, who was the president, Kelsey Plum, Nafisa Collier, Brianna Stewart, Alicia Clark, Elizabeth Williams, and Brianna Turner. So those are the players that are actively in those meeting rooms. They have team representatives that are speaking to all the players of the team throughout the league, but these are the 7 players that represent the executive committee. So a statement from the union said the move was, quote, unavoidable response to the state of negotiations with the WNBA and its teams, end quote. So basically they're saying we are not meeting where we need to. We're not getting a response. And this is something that was unavoidable. We had to express that if it came to that, we are willing to make that move and make that sacrifice. But it also shows, with that 98% of players agreeing on this, that the league of players are united more than ever. I think that's what that shows me. Is like, all right, we trust our executive committee, and you know what? If it comes to that, we're okay with it because we deserve what we deserve. On the league side, Adam Silver, who is the commissioner of the NBA, has said that he is open, willing, and wanting to get involved in negotiations as soon as now. They're like, he's just waiting for a call to get into those meetings because he still feels confident that they can reach a decision by the new deadline of January 9th. The things that are still on the table. I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, but revenue sharing, salary caps, housing, those are all still being negotiated. And the PA has said the league is embodying, quote, a resistance to change. So that's what the players are saying, that there is no movement. There's not a lot of movement from the league on these changes. And according to ESPN, the union has proposed a system where players receive 30% of gross revenue, while the league proposed a revenue sharing system that granted players an excess of 50% of net revenue, amounting to about 15% of gross revenue. So there's a lot of numbers there, but essentially that revenue sharing piece is so important. The players feel like they are undervalued and they do not want to feel that way any longer. So that is the huge breaking point. I also wanted to say on the last thing, the verbiage here is very important. So a strike is initiated by the players. A lockout is initiated by the owners. That is some word verbiage that I feel like is getting intertwined, but want to make that very clear. The players have said that they are willing to strike if necessary, if it comes to that. And if they can't meet an agreement, if the owners say, no, we're not going to pay you this, then they are going to strike a lockout. Like they're going to say that we're locking the doors. You can't come into our facilities. We don't want it to get to that, guys. We don't want it to. We still have a couple weeks left. I'm hoping that we can come to an agreement so that we can have a 2026 season. Like we talked about a few weeks ago, a lot of stuff still needs to happen in order for this to get down. We still need an expansion draft that we're going to talk about later. We still need free agency to happen, which we're also going to talk about. We still need the college draft, which we're going to talk about. All that stuff needs to happen before the season starts. So we need this to be wrapped up. Okay? If you have any questions about that, if I didn't explain anything right, put it in the chat. Let me know. We can go over it a little bit later. All right? Okay, next thing on the agenda. WNBA and Houston, question mark, again? All right, here's the deal with this. The Houston Rockets ownership are making a push to purchase the Connecticut Sun, relocating the franchise to Houston and having a WNBA team in Houston again. This has been reported. Nothing is official yet. Want to throw that out there. They haven't even signed an exclusivity clause from my understanding and my research, but it's very much moving in that direction. Now, here's a quick backstory if you are shocked by this or are like, what the heck is going on? So the Sun have been owned by the Mohegan tribe since 2003, and they relocated from Orlando to Uncasville, Connecticut. They were Orlando Miracle right when the WNBA was launched. They were only there for a few seasons, and then they came to Connecticut. In July, it came out that a deal was reached by a former Celtics minority owner for $325 million, a record by the way, to buy the team and move it to Boston. And everyone was like, cool, this is great. The Mohegan Sun tribe, they put it up. They wanted to receive offers. Like, this isn't coming out of the blue. They wanted to give up the team, and they were happy to give it to Boston. You know, it could stay in New England. Fans were like, okay, that kind of sucks, but it's not too far. The WNBA blocked that deal, and the league wanted to purchase the team for $250 million and essentially put the team in the market of their choice. Connecticut, the Mohegan tribe, did not want that to happen. They wanted this deal. They wanted, that money, and they wanted it to stay in Boston. Then there was another push to keep the team in Connecticut, with the state of Connecticut wanting to buy a minority stake. But that didn't have much steam, and that kind of fell off. So now this is where we're at. Here are my thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts. Of course, Houston fans want the Comets back. Of course. The first 4 WNBA championships were in Houston. My co-host for my podcast, The Women's Hoop Show, is the Cheryl Swoops. Of course, we want the Houston Comets back. But Connecticut is a rich basketball community for women's hoops fans specifically. It just sucks that their team gets taken from them and they have to go so far away to Houston after they have built something really special in Connecticut. And I always point to, this whole idea of like, well, it'll be better in Houston. Do you remember over these past couple years when the Sun have played at TD Garden in Boston, they have been sold out games at the TD Garden. So you can't say that they don't love the W in New England and in that area. I think that is so wild. Also, the other part of this that I think is just rubbing me the wrong way is that it seems a little shady that Houston all of a sudden is interested again. A quick history lesson. When the WNBA started in 1996, it heavily relied on NBA teams and owners to purchase a WNBA franchise, and they were connected. Houston Rockets, Houston Comets, like they were very much connected. Sacramento Kings, Sacramento Monarchs. But when tough times came, it started in 2003, 2004, and then again in 2008 when the financial crisis were happening around the country. The NBA teams were the first ones to jump ship and cut their losses. They were like, bye, we don't want this WNBA team. We're losing money. We don't see the vision. Goodbye. Houston was a part of that. So was Cleveland. That's why I was so shocked that they got another expansion team going there. Kathy Engelbert had said a while ago, or not that long ago, when she announced the other cities a part of the next expansion draft, she said Houston was up next after they missed out on the latest expansion draw. Now, all of a sudden, they can write that check easy and purchase the Sun. It just makes me think that the W is pushing for Houston to be this next spot, which is fine. And I want that. But I don't want it to come at the expense of the Connecticut Sun and their fans. Saying that they just all have to be Liberty fans because that's the next closest team. It just doesn't seem fair because they had already had someone interested who is legit and still has some of those NBA ties with the Celtics or formerly with the Celtics. So it just makes me wonder a little bit. And um, I want Houston to have a team. I want a team in New England. I want every place to have a WNBA team. But this whole sale is super fishy. But again, it's not official yet. It could be closed in the next couple weeks. Alexa Philippou reported even, at the start of the new year. And then I hope all next year we just have a send off to the Connecticut Sun. I don't think they wouldn't start the 2026 season in Houston. They would need at least a year. So, should be interesting. All right. That's what I'll say on that. Before we get to the next subject, we have someone in the chat. Philly 1991. Hello there. Hopefully they get the contract they deserve, but there will be a strikeout or a lockout. I don't know. I want everyone to be happy, but I want the players to get paid and feel valued. I think that's my whole thing. You can't say that this league is built upon something and then not value the players that are making it valuable. That's my whole thing. So hopefully, but a whole thing that's a part of this and this conversation with money and pay is free agency. So we haven't gotten the typical free agency talks because it's complicated. If free agency had a Facebook relationship status, it would say it's complicated because 80% of the league are free agents. And so when we go to this topic of realistic free agency moves, everyone or almost everyone, it's a few stragglers, a few people who are contracted throughout next season. I think it's three. Three players are on contract who are not rookies next season. So the agents, if they're doing their job right, they want to make sure that their player is getting the most money possible. And so they made sure that up until this year, their contract would end. So everyone could become a free agent, sign a new contract, and get more money and get the bag that the new CBA hopefully will present. So that's what's going on right now. And these realistic free agency moves are really up in the air because everyone could just go back to their teams with just more money, a higher salary cap per team. They could all just say, okay, yeah, this is all fun. I just wanted to re-sign with you anyway. Or there could be some players who are actively wanting to use this free agency as a real free agency and see what other options are out there. Because the bag is the bag. So if one team says, hey, we're way under our salary cap, we can pay you a lot more than the team that you're on now because there's too many stars. And they say, well, peace out. I'm jumping ship. I want to get more money. That could totally, totally happen. There's also some room here for some vets. There's some room here for players who are just wanting to make a change, wanting to see a different look, a different team. There's also some superstars on this list who are free agents, and that would shake the WNBA community to their core. If someone like Asia Wilson, who is an unrestricted free agent, decides to jump ship from the Aces after winning 3 championships. No, that is not going to happen. But she does deserve more money. So, someone like that, someone like Jackie Young, Kelsey Mitchell is an interesting one. She was a huge topic of conversation last free agency, and she was able to re sign with the Indiana Fever. But there are some interesting ones. Arike Agumbawale is one that I keep my eye on because her name was thrown around during the mid-season trade talks last year. Could she have been on the trade block? Was Kurt Miller, the new GM of the Wings, going to trade Arike? Maybe. And what he came out and said, or sources said, was that Arike is said that she's going to resign in free agency. A lot could happen. A lot could happen. So Arike is one of those players that I think could potentially go have a fresh start on maybe one of these expansion teams. Like that would be very, very interesting to me. Skylar Diggins is another one. I have said on this stream for many, many weeks when we're talking about free agency that I think she could go to Minnesota. I think her and Cheryl Reeve, them having a point guard, a true point guard. Courtney Williams has morphed into this point guard position, but Skylar Diggins is a PG through and through. Skylar and Nafisa Collier have that connection through Unrivaled, as you are seeing all of these clips, and everyone seems to be getting along. And at Unrivaled, everybody is talking about free agency. That is my favorite part. Just secretly, everyone's like, oh, where should I go? Should I go here? You want to meet up? You want to connect? You know that is what's happening in Unrivaled, which makes it so, so fun. Um, Someone like Dewana Bonner is also very interesting to me because she had said to the media during the finals that she might come back next year. And if she does come back next year, then it will for sure be her last year. She's not coming back the year after that. She has put in so many years into the WNBA. She has the most playoff games ever played. She is been to the finals so many times, a champion. She's done everything that she's needed to do, especially everything that went down in Indiana at the beginning of the season. She's ready to wrap it up. So Dewana Bonner, I can see her going back to the Mercury, the team that drafted her, and potentially retiring next season. But free agency, there is so much to uncover. We got to get this CBA signed so that we can have a fun free agency. And I cannot wait. I will be seated right here, ready to break down all of the free agencies once that CBA is signed. It's going to be fun. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, which is draft prospects on the rise. This is a really fun topic because I don't know about you, but I have been enjoying this college basketball season so much. The talent is otherworldly. It is crazy how many talented players there are. Let me just say this too. Like, I have some names here that I want to talk about for this upcoming draft, but my eyes are on the juniors and the sophomores. Like, these next couple drafts are going to be stacked. You talking about a Hannah Hidalgo and Audie Crooks? Whoo, I cannot wait for them to get into the league, but we have to wait because there are a lot of superstars in this upcoming draft, which is still slated for April. Hopefully that happens. But let's go through some of these names. So, one, I think a player who has increased her draft stock, even though on my personal mock draft, she was always number one. But AZ Fudd is now moving to that number one spot on a lot of mock drafts that I've seen. Whereas a couple months ago, they had her at 3, at 4. I don't know if that is because Dallas got the number one pick and everyone is wanting a Paisley reunion, but I think AC Fudd has continued to prove over and over that she is the best basketball player in college basketball right now. 18 and a half points, rebounds, 49% from the field. That's mostly threes, people. Every time the shot goes up, I believe it's going in. And on top of that, UConn is undefeated. And I honestly, you guys, I don't see a team beating them. I was looking forward to the game on what day was that? Sunday when they played Iowa. I was like, okay, Iowa, they're ranked number 11. Like maybe they'll give them some resistance. Could be interesting. Blew them out. Blew them out because UConn is so head and shoulders above everybody right now. The next player on this list is another UConn player, Sarah Williams. Making the transfer into UConn made me really put an eye on her. I don't think I was really familiar too much with her game in the past seasons. I've been really tapped into college basketball this season, probably more so than previous years, and I've still been tapped in. Sarah Williams this year wearing a UConn jersey has put her in a brighter spotlight. Again, undefeated, but her athleticism in the paint as a big, she's long, she's tall, her reach, 7.5 points, four, almost five rebounds, almost 55% from the field. She's efficient, and I love her touch around the rim. I think she has proven to me like, yeah, she could come off the bench for a WNBA squad and give some significant minutes, some very, very significant minutes. So to me, she definitely has moved up just in my eyes and has improved her stock because of what UConn is doing, especially on the defensive end. Next player from South Carolina. South Carolina is very much known for their bigs and their post players. Medina Okote is a baller. Talk about soft touch around the rim. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I think that this is a great player who I was not familiar with really before this season. Also, another transfer into South Carolina. I heard during the broadcast that she did not start playing basketball until 2020. That was not that long ago. And now she is going to be potentially a top player in the WNBA draft. I can't stand tall people. You know, I am very short, and I just wish if I just had some height, I would have been in the league. I'm telling y'all. But I love Okote and what she brings to the South Carolina team, defensive end, offensive end. South Carolina has been running amok. They have been doing amazing things per usual. So excited to see her on the next level. And I think her stock has improved in my eyes. Last player on this list, Olivia Miles, didn't have much to improve to. She was always a top five or a lottery pick for the draft. Even last year when we thought she was going to come out, she was going to be that number 2 pick. But some drafts before the season started had her 4, 5, 6. And no, she's moved up on some to even 3 or 2 to be the best point guard in the draft by far. The triple doubles that she has been doing this season, almost 19 points per game. TCU looks really, really good. I would also add to this list as a little asterisk her teammate, Marta Suarez. Hooper. Hooper. She came from Cal. A incredible shooter, and her length. I feel like she is pro ready. So I want them to somehow maybe be on the same team in the W if it works out. But just stock wise in general, both of these players, Olivia Miles and Marta Suarez from TCU, have been climbing up the ranks. Olivia Miles is so, so good. Excited to see her in the Big 12. I think she's going to have some good competition, but I see TCU pulling that out. So should be really good. Let's go to the chat before we get to some expansion draft talks. Alyssa, I think Azura could go to Dallas. Bree Jones as well because of her connection with Kurt. Oh, Bree Jones. That's very interesting. She just came to Atlanta. I would say that it's working out for her in Atlanta. Whew, but Dallas does need a big, so that would be interesting. Azare Stevens, maybe. Dallas does need a big, but I feel like Azare likes to shoot. She's more outside. She's more forward. They need like a center to, or they need a four or and a five to be able to guard the other bigs around the league, if that makes sense. J-Dub, I hope Medina gets one more year in college. That's fair. She could totally stay one more year in South Carolina. But if her stock is rising, you might want to take that opportunity because, like I said, these next couple drafts are stacked. Stacked. I don't know, even more than this one. The talent is overwhelming, you guys, and it makes me so, so, so happy to be able to talk about all of the future players that are coming to the WNBA. Uh-oh, we got a response. Tulip, Azure better stay in LA. She had her best ever season. The system fits her. Dallas can go grab BG. Leave my girl alone. I think that is a great, great option because I was thinking about BG when you mentioned Bree Jones. Bree Jones is getting the better half of that free agency deal in Atlanta. I think BG is super happy in Atlanta with Ryan and Alicia Gray, like the people wise, but she moved to being off of coming off of the bench, which she's never done in her career. So she could go to Dallas and maybe get that a starting role back and they could have their big. But and Paige playing with Dallas or playing with BG. Interesting, interesting. Okay, she said, leave my girl alone. That is a great transition into our last topic, which we're going to try to fly through, but potential protected players. So, like I talked about at the beginning of the stream, the expansion draft is coming, and this time we have two teams that are going to be picking in this expansion draft. We talked about this heavy on Thursday in the last stream. It was so fun. We did a mock draft. If I was going to pick from the non-protected players from each team, what would that team look like? And I also saw some comments on the YouTube page that I want to clear up. So when I picked 5 players for each of my expansion teams, for 5 players for the Toronto Tempo, 5 for the Portland Fire, I want to clarify. They can pick more than 5 players. They can pick a player from each team, or they can skip a team. They can pick people from overseas. They can pick people who are not in the league anymore. They just have to fill a 12-person roster. That was just an example. We were just having fun. So they can pick more than 5 people. Just want to make that clear. And teams can only protect 5 people. That's what it's being projected. Again, that would come out in the CBA on if they can project more, if they're still going to be core players. That it gets messy. But right now, how we are moving as a unit is that each team can protect 5 players. So I just went through my list of players and who I project 2 players for each team they would pick. Okay, a lot of names going on here. Quick thing is the R in parentheses next to a name is restricted free agent. The U is unrestricted free agent. So all those players, if you would match them on the list with when we said all of the players who are free agents. Now, what I try to do is pick players who are not restricted free agents, are not unrestricted free agents. Like they would just be a part of the team if you were protecting them, or they would have to sign over their contract to the expansion team. So I tried to pick the players who they would protect, who would for sure come back to their team. It's tough to protect a free agent because, again, they could go and sign somewhere else. It's also tough for the expansion team to select a free agent because they could still go and sign somewhere else. So that's why free agency, you guys, is so important and needs to get wrapped up because a lot of things need to happen. But just to quickly go over this, Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray, if you're the Atlanta Dream, you're definitely protecting this duo. You want to keep them together. They have proven success. They were second ranked in the league for most of the season last year. They had a great year. This is just the start. They are still young. Alicia Gray having a peak season and I think year 8 is super encouraging, and you need to ride on that. For Chicago, Angel Reese, you are definitely protecting her. She is still on her rookie contract. Same with Camila Cardoso. You want that duo together now. We just got to get some help around them and have them run a system that works. But unless they have a trade package at the ready for an Angel Reese, she is going to stay with Chicago and she is their franchise player. For the Connecticut Sun, Aaliyah Edwards, who you just traded for to bring over, you're definitely protecting her. Sanaya Rivers is someone who has a bright future in this league, especially on the defensive side. She is so fun to watch. So you want to keep her all to yourself. Dallas, Paige Beckers, of course, you're going to keep her on your team. And Maddie Siegrist, this was a tough one because I didn't want to list any other free agent, but Maddie Siegrist still under contract. I believe she's still under her rookie contract. Has shown huge improvement. I love watching her play. You need her still a part of this team to keep it as an anchor. For the Valkyries, tough because a lot of unrestricted and restricted free agents. Veronica Burton is someone you want to try to keep. So restricted free agent basically means if you get an offer from someone else, you have to hear out your team first. Like you have to be able to have that negotiation with your team. So I think the Valkyries should do everything they can to keep Veronica Burton. So proud of her. I love what she's been able to do with her career. And Kayla Thornton, we got robbed. She got injured. And I just feel like there's more to see with her on the Valkyries. Caitlin Clark, duh. Aaliyah Boston, duh. You're going to protect both of them. They are your anchors of your squad. Asia Wilson, Jackie Young, unrestricted free agents. The whole basically Aces team is unrestricted free agents, but you're definitely going to protect your superstars. I'm seeing in the chat, you could protect 5 players. Why do you have 2 for each team? I wish I could spend multiple hours here to go through every single player, but that's just all the time that we have. So I'm just zooming through this for 2 players that would for sure be protected. Also, there's a lot of flux of who do you protect? How do you think about their upside? Are they injury prone? Like there's so many things that go into why you would protect a player. Jay, I have an issue with the cord vets being ineligible. That means some teams get to protect 8 players while the rest only 5 essentially. Why are we rewarding coaches who don't give youth a chance? Okay, that's super interesting. So the cord players, as you guys may know, are players who have been cored by their team that say they're here with us. They can't go into free agency. They can't be offered another contract. Like they are our person. And those are your superstars. Those are the Brianna Stewarts, the Nneka Ogwumike, who's been cored by the Sparks for so many years. So in the expansion draft, as the CBA rules are right now, those cored players are not eligible to be a part of the draft because they've been cored so many times and they're not. They are vets. They can't be a part of this. So as this person is saying, you have an issue with that because there are some teams that have multiple cored vets on their squad and that they're kind of off the table, and then you just get to add 5 other players on top of that. Whereas there's some teams that have none. Like I think the Mystics don't have any players who are cored vets. So they have to only have 5 players protected. The rest of the team is available. So it makes it a little tricky. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that gets changed in the CBA. They don't want to have the core tag anymore. So what would that change? Would that make everybody eligible, or would that say, okay, Brianna Stewart, we have to have you as one of our protected players because we don't want you to go in our an expansion draft. So super interesting, great point. It definitely helps some teams and hurts some others. So totally get you there. The only other team that I wanted to shout out before I go, the Liberty, like I said, and the Minnesota Lynx, everyone is a free agent. Leonie Fibich is one of those players that is under contract for next season. So she is protected and she has a contract. She is not a free agent. She cannot leave. So Liberty fans, you should be happy. At least you will have Leonie Fibich back. Kiki Arifin and Sonia Citron are an easy protection for Washington. I would also put Georgia Amore in there. Super young team. Everyone's under contract because they're rookies and they have some draft picks. So that was a very quick protected player predictions of 2 for each team. Again, they can protect 5. That was just me giving out some names that I would for sure protect. I hope you feel caught up with all the WNBA buzz. There is a lot going on. Hopefully I tapped into some of it. But Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I'll see you on New Year's. I'll be back. But happy holidays and put on your Christmas list that we have a 2026 WNBA season. All right, you guys, I'll see you later.